Oh boy, what is in the water at UFC HQ? First, we got Forrest Griffin's meltdown, the Jackson podcast. And now we got Dana White coming out with some of the most absurd fight announcements in recent memory. I mean, if you're watching this, you have already heard, they're already hinting that Merab is going to rematch Sean O'Malley. Why? Hell if I know. Who is Sean beat to earn his rematch? Nobody. His surgeon. He just got out of hip surgery. They want to fight each other. They're cage fighters. Who doesn't want to fight? I think people want to see it. Who? The same people who wanted to see Jones versus Stipe over Aspinall? Of course. What are we even talking about? The Sphere was a fun card, but the fight itself was awful. Like, Merab had to rehab his position with the community with the Umar fight. That's how bad this fight was. And we're not even done there. They announced Jose Aldo's fighting Firas Zahabi's brother. No disrespect to Zahabi, but what are you doing fighting Aldo? MMA Guru pointed this out in his tweet. He's absolutely right. This has been absurd how they've treated Aldo since he's come back. Jones sits out for a year for Stipe, completely ducks the interim title with Aspinall. Meanwhile, Aldo is just middling around at the fringe of the top 15 just because. It's clear they want to use his name to build somebody else, feeding him to these prospects. But come on, at least give him some progression. And that's not even enough. Elias sets the world on fire, giving up his title. And instead of having him go for Islam, which is what the fans actually want, they're trying to pass him off to Arman. Why? Hell if I know what the logic is here. What's the point of giving up your belt if you're now going to have to work your way up again? He's already a champion. Like, this should be marketing 101. You put 2 titles on the poster, super fight, before Islam goes to 170 if Bilal loses. Like, I don't get at this point. Is it just a power trip? Is Dana gone senile? Or, again, Stipe Jones is held out for over a year despite an interim champion in Tom Aspinall. Meanwhile, Aldo gets random prospect after random prospect with no path to the title, no veteran. Dominic Cruz just retired because he couldn't make it to his matchup. Those two were in the same division and they were never matched up. Forget making it to the fight. They were never even matched up. It's insane. But instead of just complaining about it, I'm going to fix it for us. Up first, toss out O'Malley versus Merab. Jan needs an opponent. It's time for the rematch. It was close over 3 rounds. Make it a top contenders fight for 5 rounds. Both of them need to show why a rematch with Merab will be different. Both are unbooked and healthy. And if you're so desperate for O'Malley to get a title shot, make it overtly a title eliminator, and you're good to go. It'll be a good fight. Their first fight was a really good scrap, razor close. Give them 2 more rounds, and let's see if O'Malley really is about that, or if Jan makes it back. But both got just absolutely dominated by the champ. Speaking of Merab, how are we talking about him going to rematches when there's Pantoja right there? If there's somebody who deserves to be champ, it is Pantoja. He is now lapping himself. He is at the stage Demetrius Johnson was when they are bringing in other champions. Kai Asakura was a solid fight, but the fact they acknowledged Ryzen as an organization shows how desperate they are to get him some contenders. And now he's into another rematch. Enough. Let him bump up, give the division some time to sort itself out, or let him stay there. Let him stay at 135, just like Henry Cejudo did, except without the retirement. Next up, Justin Gaethje versus Arman. Forget Topuria. He's got a date with Islam. Arman needs to re-earn his title shot, and Gaethje needs to prove that he can close that wrestling gap that Khabib exposed. Forget about his chin. He can brawl with the best of him. But with Hooker out, and if he still wants a title shot, he needs to prove that he can stuff takedowns from one of these grapplers. Meanwhile, Arman needs to prove that he deserves a title shot. His last one was a split decision over Charles. Meanwhile, he pulls out on a day's notice. If he can beat Gaethje better than Khabib did, or have a really solid war, that'll make everybody forget about his late pullout, and he'll be good to go straight for a title. Both are healthy. Both are ready. Give them a training camp, and let's really go. This is the fight. Do I even need to say more? Islam, of course, needs to take on Topuria. He's waiting to see if Bilal loses his title before he goes to 170, and because he's bored, he's talking about trying to go to 185. Topuria has been absolutely incredible in his title reign. Maybe Islam squashes him like he did Volkanovski, but this fight's got hype. The fans are talking about it. This is too easy. What's the point of, I get it, he gives up the title so that way he doesn't hold up the division, but what is the point of having a champion move weight classes if you're then going to treat him like a regular contender? Next, sorry Zahabi, but Aldo's next fight should be against Umar. Umar needs a win. The fans want to see a Dagestani wrestler face the best takedown defense in UFC history. We lost this with Khabib because Aldo went down instead of up. This is the closest we're going to get to it. The Aldo disrespect's got to end. If you're going to use his name to make a prospect, it should be Umar. Meanwhile, Umar needs a big win coming off the Merab loss. This is where he gets it. And last, this one's just my personal preference. Both have cleaned out their divisions. Both need time for the challengers to rise up. This is how you set a super fight. Plain and simple. These are the fights people want to see. Not this. This. Enough with the horrible matchmaking. Make the real fights that fans want to see. I won't even bill you for the advice. Just book them.